Here's the first 5 things you should do when you get your brand new Switch 2. Number 1 is transfer your data. So there's actually 3 different ways that you can do a transfer. Nintendo don't really make it that easy. It's very easy to set up if you've just bought your Switch 2 and you've never had a Switch console before. It's very easy, just follow the on-screen prompts. However, if you're looking to transfer your data, then you can do it 3 separate ways. So the first way is to have your original Switch and go into the settings, and you can actually upload your data essentially to their cloud. Now this will wipe your initial system, and then you can go to your Switch 2 and download that data onto your Switch 2. But just bear in mind that will wipe the host console, your original Switch, and move everything over to the cloud, which you can then re-download. I believe you get 12 months of space. So once you've uploaded it to their storage, then you've got 12 months before they'll just delete it, so make sure you're only doing this when you're waiting to get your Switch 2. Now, the other way of doing it is actually to follow the on-screen prompts, either as you're setting up your Switch 2 or within the system transfer menu within the Switch 2. Now, this is the same kind of thing, but it doesn't wipe your initial system. So your original system will not get wiped here, but you will transfer everything over, and specific games and saves will get moved. Other games will not. So certain saves will stay on the original, certain saves will be forced onto the new one, but you will also have cloud save. It's a little tiny bit confusing. Now, if you're like me and you wanted to keep your original Switch with everything on it and then move everything over to your Switch 2 separately so that you don't have everything transferred over, because the first 2 methods will try and re-download all of your downloaded eShop titles, right? So once you do a full system transfer, let's say you've got 1,000 games, all 1,000 are going to try and download, and you don't have enough space for that. So you have to manually go and uninstall all of them. It's a little bit frustrating. And what I wanted to do was keep my Switch OLED and then only move over specific games to my Switch 2 that I knew had free upgrades, paid upgrades, or just games that I really wanted to play on my Switch 2 that maybe I didn't finish on my Switch 1. I wanted my Switch 2 to kind of be its own system and not just be a complete transfer over. Now, this method isn't really explained very well, but luckily for you, I've done a complete video guide on that, and that will be linked down in the description. And I show you absolutely everything as to how to set up your Switch 2, but also these different transfer methods. And there's 2 guides here. One to show you the full system transfer, and the other guide is going to show you how I set mine up. So I recommend that you go and watch that. Now, the next thing you might want to do is upgrade your storage. Maybe you are transferring everything over, or maybe you've just got loads of Switch 2 games already and you've bought a load of stuff on the eShop and you need to upgrade your internal storage. Well, obviously we've got 256 gigabytes on the actual Switch 2 now, which is really good, but we do have the expansion slot there, the MicroSD Express slot, to be able to expand our storage. So there's a bit of a caveat. You cannot use a MicroSD. So let's say you've got one from your Switch 1, your Switch Lite, your Switch OLED. No, you cannot use that on the Switch 2 to transfer your games or backup games to. No, you cannot. You can only use microSD cards to transfer pictures and videos from your original Switch devices. You cannot put games or anything like that on them. So just don't even bother trying to use those. What you need is a MicroSD Express card. Now, currently these are very expensive. So whilst that's a bit of a negative, it's actually really good that Nintendo have chosen the current standard, because these are extremely fast speeds. So these have very, very quick read and write data reading and writing speeds. So it's very good for us gamers, because once we download and install a game onto a MicroSD Express card, then we're going to get very fast speeds. We're not going to get a degradation in performance. It's going to be almost as good as the internal storage, which is great, and it is faster than running them off the cartridge. So whilst they are expensive currently, 256 gigabytes is about £50 here in the UK, so not a massive jump in storage size there, but well, I mean, it's double what the internal is, right? But it's very expensive for the little amount you get currently. A 1 terabyte can be £150, upwards of that. But I've done a complete video guide about MicroSD Express cards, so I recommend that you go and watch that video as well. Now, next up is something everyone's been asking about, especially from my case, is screen protectors, because there's two different types of screen protectors you can get. That's matte screen protectors and gloss screen protectors. Now, yes, before you say there is a screen protector on your Switch already, however, this is just a shatter resistance for the glass. So the Switch 2 screen is glass, so there's a very thin plastic film screen protector already applied. Do not remove this, and yes, you absolutely want to put a screen protector over the top of this because it is not very durable. It's not there to protect against scratches. It's only there so that it does not shatter into a trillion pieces if you drop it and the glass gets cracked and smashes. So yes, absolutely put a screen protector on, because the Switch 2 has a very weak screen protector on there that will scratch very fast. So back to it. Yes, we've got two different screen protector types. You've got gloss and you've got anti-glare matte. Now, gloss is going to give you the best, crispest image. However, you are going to see absolutely everything reflected in it. You're going to see your face in it. You're going to see everything a mile away in it. It is basically a mirror. However, you will get the sharpest clarity. But what I really like, especially because I film here, is matte screen protectors. So matte screen protectors completely dull it down and stop all sort of reflections. And by all, I mean, it just reduces it. It does not completely kill it. It's not a black hole, but it massively reduces reflections. And for me, with lots of lights on, but also for me in general, I usually play downstairs sat in my sitting room with big bay windows, and I'm always getting reflections in it, and it's very frustrating. So matte screen protectors are really good for those of you that travel a lot. Maybe you're on a bus, on a train or something like that, and you're always getting reflections, or just maybe it's your living environment like mine that kind of gets in the way. So matte screen protectors are great, but they do reduce the quality just a little bit. Now, this really depends on the brand. 90% of brands that I've tested are very harsh matte screen protectors because they want to boast that they've got the best anti-glare. Now, for me, I actually find this is the biggest negative. Those ones are rubbish because they severely affect image quality. But there is one brand that make the best one, in my opinion, and it's about a 50% strength versus like a 90% strength. So the image clarity is still remains, the degradation is very minimal, and the reduction in reflections is still very great. So it's a win-win in my book. Now, if you want to know what brand that is, I mean, I'll link the screen protector down in the description, but I recommend that you go and watch my specific video on it because I have done a complete deep dive. So if you want way more information as to which one may suit you, go and watch that video for more information. Now, the fourth thing you should do is actually on the Switch itself. So maybe you've got yourself Nintendo Switch Online expansion pack, and maybe you've got something like Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild, and you've got the Switch 1 versions and you want to upgrade them. Well, what you're going to have to do, and I find it the easiest way, is to go into your Nintendo Switch Online, go down to expansion pack at the base just here, click on it, and just scroll through until you see upgrade your game to the Nintendo Switch 2 version. You're going to click on that and view upgrade packs. And now you'll be taken to the eShop, but that is when you are part of the expansion pack membership. It will let you do it for free. Do not purchase it. It's a little bit hit and miss as to like their communication here. Originally, I thought I was going to have to buy it, and I was like, hang on a minute, I'm part of the subscription. I shouldn't have to. So I could click download and get that there. And the same applies for the other one just here, and anything else that ends up becoming on the expansion pack for free. So we might see other games in the future. But if you don't want to do it through the Nintendo Switch Online app on the front, which I think is the easiest, just here, you just go down to Nintendo Switch Online, go there. You can go to the eShop and then search your game, and then it will show there as well. And as part of 4, we're just going to show you some other stuff. So what we're going to do is go down to display, and providing that you've got an HDR capable TV, yes, you want to be leaving this on, but also we want to be leaving this on anyway because the Nintendo Switch 2 actually has an HDR screen that we're looking at right now. So we do want that on. I'd recommend leaving TV resolution to automatic. I'd recommend RGB range to automatic as well. Reduce screen burn-in, we don't need on this. So this will not get burn-in because we've got LCD. If you've got an older OLED panel, then I recommend that you enable this and it will just dim the screen after 5 minutes. If you've got a newer OLED panel, most of them have better anti-burn-in sort of systems in place on their TVs or monitors respectively. I highly recommend that you go and search your model first before taking my advice here, but providing that you do have a newer TV that has OLED burn-in protection built into it, then you can go ahead and turn this off. It's annoying for me. So for me, my TV actually has anti-burn-in already, and I do have an OLED. Whereas if I leave this on, what happens is we were playing Mortal Kombat Ultimate and the game has a very long story. And after 5 minutes, the screen kept dimming. So I had to pick up the controller, move the joystick or whatever so that it would come back to life. That was frustrating, so what we did is just turned it off in the settings here. Now, the next one is match TV power state. We want that on so that when you turn on the switch, when it's docked, it's going to turn on the TV and go to the correct HDMI source. So do that one. Yes, we want 120 Hertz output. Yes, we want all M. And now this one is a big one. So HDR output is default to always enable. However, we actually want to move it to compatible software only. Now, what this does is it will only then kick in HDR when the game supports it. We don't want to force fake HDR onto standard definition range games, so SDR. So what I recommend doing is turning that off to compatible software only. So that's going to give you the best image possible. Now, configuring HDR is difficult. It all depends if you've got an HGIG capable monitor or TV or not. And honestly, that's far too much depth and detail to go into this video. So make sure you subscribe because we might cover that in another video. But if not, you can find more about that online. And number 5 is the Pro Controller. Yes, it's the Pro Controller. I highly recommend that you think about getting this. It's a very expensive controller, but it's absolutely brilliant. They've used a one-piece design so you don't get any finger dirt in any cracks or crevices. The only crease is around the front edge here and around the top just here, which I think is amazing. It's massively reduced to any other controller. You've got a headphone input, so when you're playing docked on the TV, you can plug your headphones in and have the sound only go into your headphones, which is amazing. It also supports microphone, so you can do game chat via this with an actual headset on. You've got the game chat button. You've got the 2 back paddles, which are so easy to remap. Like, they absolutely are. You can just press and hold the home button, and once you're in a game, there's a little button that comes up here. You click on it, press whatever button you want, and it will put that button, duplicate it to that back paddle. It's so very easy. And those back paddles remember your settings per game and per profile. So you can have different settings for every single one of your games and never have to redo it. It remembers per your profile. And if you've got someone else playing on your Switch 2 and they log into their account, it will remember all of theirs as well, even though it's the same controller. It's very, very good. And the favorite thing by far is these super smooth, super silent joysticks. They are the nicest feeling joysticks I've felt ever. Maybe not the best performing, but certainly the nicest feeling by a long shot. They are so, so nice. I want to keep talking more about this controller, but I have done a deep dive review of it. So I highly recommend if you want a load more detail about this as to why I love it, the good things, the bad things, and all of that, make sure you go over and check out my review of this controller. And there we have it. That's 5 things that you should do when you get your Switch 2. Let me know what you've been doing. What are your top 5 things to do? Have you done any of them in this guide today? Let me know down in the comments whilst you're down there. Like this video, subscribe, become a member, and you can talk to myself and AJ over on our private Discord. And whilst you're down in the comments, say something. I don't know, I lost my train of thought. Okay, bye. Enjoy your Switch 2.